My wife chose my best friend over me, but my revenge changed everything. For years, my life felt like a dream. I had a beautiful wife, Sophie, and a best friend, Mark, who I thought was a true brother. Mark and I had known each other since childhood, and Sophie and I met in college. We clicked instantly, and it seemed like we were the perfect couple. We shared the same values, the same dreams, and for a long time, everything felt perfect. But nothing, I realized too late, is ever as perfect as it seems. Our friendship with Mark had always been close. He was at our wedding, he was the godfather to our first child, and he was at every family gathering. Sophie and I trusted him completely. He was like family. But as I later learned, that trust was a mistake. It started slowly. Sophie and Mark seemed to spend more time together, texting more frequently, hanging out when I wasn't around, and always laughing just a little too much at each other's jokes. I tried to ignore the subtle signs, convincing myself I was just being paranoid, but deep down, something didn't feel right. Then, one fateful evening, I came home early from work. I had finished a meeting ahead of schedule and decided to surprise Sophie by taking her out to dinner. As I walked through the front door, I froze. The scene before me was a nightmare I couldn't have prepared for. Sophie and Mark were sitting on the couch, much too close for comfort. Sophie was crying, and Mark had his arm around her, comforting her. But there was something more than just friendship in the way he held her, and I could see it in their eyes. I didn't know how to react. My heart raced as I stood there, speechless. Mark saw me first. His face flushed with guilt, but Sophie seemed almost relieved to see me. I could tell this wasn't a mistake. This wasn't an accident. They had been hiding something from me, and now the truth was out. Sophie tried to explain, but her words were empty. She said it was nothing, that Mark was just there for her in a difficult time. But I knew. I had always trusted her, and now that trust had shattered into pieces. Mark apologized, but it was too late. He could never take back what had happened. Sophie, on the other hand, didn't seem as remorseful as I thought she should be. She admitted that she had developed feelings for him, and she had chosen him over me. The words stung, but I didn't argue. I just turned and walked away, knowing that nothing would ever be the same again. That night, I didn't sleep. I was in shock, numb with disbelief. How could the woman I loved and my best friend do this to me? They betrayed me in the worst possible way, and I felt the weight of it pressing on me. But as the hours passed, a burning anger began to form. I didn't want to just let this go. I needed to get back at them, not just for me, but for the years of trust and loyalty they had trampled on. I had to show them that they couldn't get away with this. The first thing I did was move out. I packed my things, left the house, and stayed with a friend for a while. But that was just the beginning. Over the next few weeks, I slowly began to put my plan into motion. I knew that Sophie and Mark weren't going to be as careful as they thought. They believed I was broken, that I was too hurt to fight back, but I was more determined than ever to make them realize the gravity of their actions. I started by playing the role of the heartbroken husband, but in the background I was making strategic moves. I reached out to some of Mark's business associates, people he had worked with closely. I used my knowledge of his professional life to subtly expose some of his questionable business practices. I didn't do anything illegal, but I planted seeds of doubt. Soon, whispers began circulating about his integrity, and the business relationships he had spent years building started to crumble. Meanwhile, I didn't let Sophie off the hook either. I began showing her that I wasn't just the man she had tossed aside. I focused on myself, making improvements to my life that she had never seen before. I started working out, pursuing my passions again, and getting involved in things I had neglected while trying to maintain a perfect life for us. Slowly, I saw Sophie starting to look at me differently, but it was too late. The damage had already been done. As time passed, both Sophie and Mark started to feel the consequences of their betrayal. Mark lost business deals and credibility. His once promising career was now under scrutiny, and his reputation was tarnished. Sophie, on the other hand, found herself alone, watching me grow stronger and more successful without her. She tried to reach out to me, but I remained distant, never giving her the closure she sought. It took months for everything to fully unfold, but eventually, Sophie came to me, apologizing for everything. She admitted that she had made a huge mistake, and she begged me to take her back. But I had moved on. I had realized that I deserved more than the woman who had betrayed me and the friend who had stabbed me in the back. Mark tried to salvage his friendship with me, but I made it clear that there was no coming back from what he had done. He had lost not only my trust, but my respect as well. In the end, my revenge wasn't about causing destruction for the sake of it. It was about showing them both that I wasn't a victim, that I could rise above their betrayal and come out stronger. I didn't need them to be happy. I didn't need them to feel validated. What I needed was to reclaim my life, my confidence, and my power. And that's exactly what I did. Sophie and Mark's lives may have continued, but they were forever marked by the choices they made. As for me, I moved forward, learning that sometimes the best revenge is simply living well, thriving, and finding your peace without those who betrayed you.